emptiness.
Shut up! What makes you think you know anything about it? It's easy for you to talk. You have no idea.
Easy. Just try to calm down.
Energy, I'm giving nothing my energy. My boy rebel Hennessy, perk me up, tardy. If she give me French, she the smartest. Real one consider your artists. And we know, we putting it out on the target. Look, energy, I'm giving nothing my energy. Nah, my boy rebel Hennessy, perk me up, tardy. She give me French, she the smartest. Real one can see where your heart is. Yeah, we know, we putting it out on the target. Yeah. Dead tube, bloody, red tube, fuck it up. Talk to me next, I'm coming up on the code of the game, I'll run it up. Execute, I'm doing nothing but execute. Lois and Johnny, she execute. You waiting in line while they let us through. Yeah, I'm on that new shit. You on that boom here. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know. In backwards with it, keep it low. Cause they always gonna be watching. And I don't want any problems, but you know that I'ma solve it. Look.
Hello everybody and welcome to Anime Group Therapy. Starting today's episode with Handshakers because we're all sad we had to watch this show due to our, I don't know what we would call it, like our torture episode slash, I don't know, punishment episode. But we are reviewing the 2017 show Handshakers. Joining me today, first, as always, is our resident Cat. Cat, how's it going?
All I gotta say is pray to your gods, stick to your guns, cause the cat is back.
Yes, sir. Here we go. Joining us back again from a hiatus, we have Happy. Happy, how's it going today?
I'm doing well. I was gonna say something, but then I thought, better not.
All right, you can save it for the podcast. And also making his return back from his hiatus due to his unfortunate jaw surgery, we have Haz. Also, Haz was the artist on today's intro music / AMV. So, welcome back, Haz.
Thanks for having me. And unironically, I'm not on Oxy right now, so this is my sober thoughts. I want to say it's good to be back, and I had this while I was walking out earlier. I love ya, I really do. Just earlier today, I was thinking about Miles. Because I was flexing my anime collection and I pulled the Magical Girl show and I was like, I'm only here because of Miles. So, it's just good to be back.
Well, we're glad to have you back. And our two moderators. First, Pat. Pat, how's it going today?
Hello. Maybe 2020 isn't so bad, not because of our decision to watch this show, but because we get Progressive coming soon and we get the final Origairu episode soon too. You know what? Maybe things are turning around this year. One can only hope after how it's gone so far. But yeah, otherwise I'm doing good. Again, just so excited for this season to wrap up this week. I can't wait to keep watching, and I'm gonna pretend that we didn't have to watch the show this week.
True. And last but not least, our last moderator and the man leading, or one half of the leading the conversation, is Miles. Miles, how's it going?
It's going good. In Taylor Swift's platinum album Folklore, the opening track, The One, first verse ends with the statement, the greatest films of all time were never made. Today, we challenge that notion. Let's review Handshakers. Is it one of the greatest films of all time? Potentially. Let's find out.
I'm gonna say no because it's a show and not a film, but I know what you're getting at. I mean, to be honest, I don't really know where to start with this show because we're gonna have a vast variety of opinions because we have people who ironically like the show, unironically like the show, people who despise this show. So I guess I'm gonna pass it over to our moderators. They can lead the discussion because I have no idea where to start.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we start with the positives first?
First, Kat, I know you took a week off, but first we have to start with our first impressions. So this is a spoiler-free impressions of the first off how we found out about the show, something like that, but also after your first few episodes, did you like it? What didn't you like? And lastly, would you recommend this show or series to someone who hasn't seen it before? So again, try to stay spoiler-free like we always do. I'm just going to go down the list that I have on my screen. Miles, why don't you take us away?
Yeah, sure thing. So I first heard of this show when I watched the Mother's Basement video titled The Roast of Handshakers. He was trying to find some new real estate, making fun of SAO. The views were down. It's only getting a couple million hits for it. And so he had to move on to different shows. And by the sound of that show, or that video, you would have guessed that this show was terrible. I watched the first 3 episodes, and maybe it's because I went in expecting to die. Literally to die when I watched it. But I don't know. I had a good time. I'm going to just list anime that this show is definitely better than.
Oh my god, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna be painful.
Let's see, what do we got here? Fate Apocrypha. Kakaguri.
Ooh, he said it.
No Game, No Life.
Okay, alright.
I agree.
Half of ReZero Season 1, but you like have to pick the episodes out like randomly. It's
Right.
just not as like a whole
Then
thing. Either half,
technically-
like episode 2, 4, 7, 8.
through
Yeah,
12,
exactly.
Yeah.
Then
And is there anything else? Overlord. Every season of Overlord. Yeah. So that's what I've got.
Wow. Okay. That's a hot take to start us off. The the No Game No Life one. That I'm not gonna let you bait me in with that. I'm really not going to. Kat, why don't you voice your opinion on this show next? Oh, do you recommend it, Miles? Sorry.
I don't know, man. If you're bored, you can find the dub because Lord knows you shouldn't pay that much attention to this show. Go back.
That's the other thing too. This is on Crunchyroll. It is subbed and dubbed on Crunchyroll. Sure, it's on other places too, but yeah, I think I started with the sub myself and then switched to the dub because I could not get myself to sit down and stare at the screen the entire time the show was on. Anyway, sorry, Kat, go ahead. Your turn now. Let's hear your first impression.
Okay, so I never heard of this show until Pete nominated it for our 10th episode. For this episode.
Yes, sir.
Fuck you, Pete, for that. But my first impressions have to be I'm gonna put it like this. So this is the way I normally review hentai. Because as you know that I'm a hentai reviewer. So
I didn't know that.
Wait, what?
I've never heard you say that. Since when?
So because I can't really give a straight up like, hey, these are the things that I'm going to compare it to. I'm going to compare it to another show that has around the same score, and that would happen to be Ari Ferretta. So so the thing is, Ari Ferretta and this show technically can be seen as isekais. But
Sure.
the thing is, this show is more innovative in its isekai. So it's not just, oh, we got transported to another world, because they're in the same world, but not at the same time, which is a little bit more innovative than, oh, we got transported into another world. Also, the CGI in this show is vastly better than Ari Ferretta.
No way.
True.
Is that true?
Which gives
Is
it
it really?
a better...
True.
It really is.
I haven't seen.
How?
Like honestly,
Neither have I. Yeah,
YouTube
what?
the Hydra fight in Ari Ferretta.
okay.
Oh,
If
please don't.
if
Please
anyone watches this, the fire CGI, I need to cut in. The CGI in this show is atrocious.
Yes,
so
it
bad.
was.
Literally,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
this movie
But
maker
it's
and like
definitely better.
use the fire brush, like. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like the fire CGI is horrible. And by the way, that's not a spoiler. The fire CGI is in like the first 5 minutes, I think. But like,
Doesn't matter.
This-
It's
I was like, I don't
terrible.
know how that'd be a
Yeah.
spoiler.
but
Spoiler alert, there is a
There's-
fire in this show. There is fire.
there was fire. But yeah, this show CGI is better than Ari Ferretta. Also, the main character and his situation are more innovative than the main character in Ari Ferretta's situation. And to be honest, this whole show is more innovative and has more risk throughout the whole show, which technically, in a very, very objective standpoint, this show is better than Ari Ferretta. But it doesn't fucking matter because the show fucking sucks. I do not recommend it. It does not do anything good. Jesus fucking Christ, this show sucks.
Okay, well,
so you
I'm
do
glad,
not recommend it.
I'm glad we got to
good
that
to
point
know.
where we shouldn't swear so it doesn't get triggered on YouTube.
Yeah, no, that's what we're about
Thanks,
3 or 4
Kat.
minutes in. Good work.
Luckily, the AMV was longer than a minute.
Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. All right, Haz. Well, yeah, you're next up on my list. Why don't you kick us off with your recommendation for this show, or not?
Well, first off, let me just say, I've been looking at myself for a minute. This jaw surgery did fucking wonders. Anyways, the show. So much like Miles, I went into this expecting to die, which is probably why I didn't have such a bad time with it as like Kat. When Pete recommended, what I went into the idea of the 10th episode and recommending bad anime. When I think bad anime to recommend for our 10th episode, because 10 weeks is a long time, that's a lot of buildup. You got to bring some really dog shit stuff to this table.
That's like 20
for the-
weeks, actually. Yeah, when you think about
Yeah.
it, too. Or bi-weekly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that's a lot of buildup. So I was expecting something on the table like Isekai Cheat Magician, right? Like as bad as that, or like I don't know, like Valak's Love or UQ Holder, right? Something like that. It wasn't that bad. That's not to say it was good. And this is also why you don't talk to Kat before this stream or the video. Because my point to Kat when he was, venting about his trauma is that this show, well, let me just start with like the clear-cut positives. I think the dub of this show is great. They have good actors in it. The main character is Deku, literally. The doctor sounds like a discount version of the doctor from Durarara. He might actually be the same actor, don't know. But I don't know. I decently enjoyed it. Second thing that kind of stood out was outside of the CGI, just the art style in general. The way I described it was, if anyone remembers MySpace and those blingy profile pics,
True.
imagine someone made an anime character with that, and that's what they're all drawn like.
How old were you when MySpace died?
When did MySpace die? 2010. So I was in 2006 or 10.
I mean, I moved to Facebook in 2006. I bet Facebook died in like
It died in 2006. I did an episode of my podcast on this. It died in 2006.
So then I was like 5.
We old now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You are getting old.
you are. Anyways, so yeah, it's a very interesting art style, but it takes a lot of weird risk, and it's simultaneous. It's kind of it's hard for me to not recommend it or recommend it. It's one of those things where, like Miles was saying, if you have time, pick it up, because I don't think and in dub, because I don't think compared to something like Isekai Cheat Magician, it doesn't feel drawn out. It was a really easy watch for me. Maybe that was just me, but I mindlessly got through it, like at a breeze. I felt like things were happening in the show. Cool, let's go to the next thing. So yeah, I mean, pick it up if you have time. That's my recommendation.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to Happy. Happy. I'm I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this. Let's hear your recommendation.
Okay.
That's
You
an
guys
evil
can all
laugh.
still hear me.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can all still hear me, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
good.
we got you.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I had never what's his face? Oh, I forgot. Who was the first guy who gave his first impression? Because I've already forgotten.
It was
Miles.
me.
Miles?
What was it? Oh, Miles. Okay, then who was the guy who hadn't heard of it until Pete recommended it?
Cat?
That was
That was me.
That was Cat. Okay.
Yo, are you
okay,
on
so thank
crack
you.
right now or something?
Yeah.
He's smoking krills.
Sorry. So, like Cat, I hadn't heard of this show until Pete recommended it. So I thought, okay, bit of a weird premise, but I'll check it out. Watched the first episode. It was rough. I was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna like this. Watched the second episode. I was like, okay, that wasn't great, but I could at least sit through it. Watched the third episode, and I'm like, I think I'm starting to like this show.
Oh my
You hate
god.
to see it.
Yeah. I'm sorry for your loss.
By the time I got to the end, I'm like, you know what? I'm all in.
Wow.
I like this show. It's
Wow,
not
okay.
good, but I like it anyways.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you say it's not good, but you would still recommend it then? I'm guessing.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh.
Because-
All right,
No.
that's fair.
So level heads prevail, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's fair. All right.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't recommend it.
You would not
It's-
recommend
it's
it.
It's got too many hurdles. It's not going to be for everyone. I was able to forgive most of its faults.
Fair, that's a completely fair and reasonable way to put it, I think.
You say this show. You say that like this show actually has any good parts in it, but
I
I think it does. I think it,
I think
definitely
it does too. I think it does
Yeah.
too, even though I haven't gotten to my part yet.
It
But
oddly does some things very well, and then the other things it doesn't do. It doesn't do them poorly. It just doesn't do them.
yeah.
Um,
All right, Pete, why don't you give your first impression?
Yeah, first impressions was I was flabbergasted by the fact that I saw a scene where the animation was both good and one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. It was very confusing on how I could describe it, where the background looked like it was an MS Paint. The fire was like CG that you used on like one of those Macs you had at school, and you just like played around with like WYSIWYGs or whatever that fun like, animated thing was. And then the characters, while they were like running, looked fantastic. So it was really strange. But then I realized what the premise was of them holding hands and fighting each other to reach God. And then I don't know. It's just like a really weird premise and story. There's a lot of random scenes that I did not like at all. AKA episode 2 was just like about 8 minutes too long. I'll put it that way. So first impressions, it was really weird and I hated almost every second of it. So yeah, I do not recommend the show at all.
All right, I'll try to be quick with mine. So the way I put it best in my notes was sometimes shows have good premises but then fall flat on their face and just are bad, whether that's in animation, in quality, in storytelling and writing, or character design, whatever. This show's premise isn't even good. It's like you said, it's this, they have to hold hands and then they kind of just go away from the holding hands thing. By the end of it, though, they find ways to rewrite the rules that they tried to set out themselves. And that's not really a spoiler because it starts happening in like the first episode. So I would say that there were things that were redeemable about this show. The color palette was a little too bright, but it was bright and it was different. I could see what they were going for graphically too. Like they were attempting to be different while still having somewhat of the modern anime style, I guess, if that makes sense. You know, they were trying to incorporate more CG than most shows were. Yeah, and I give them credit for attempting that. However, you don't go around and call the movie The Room a masterpiece for a reason. Even if it was an attempt at being different, it was bad.
You are
and this
tearing
show,
me apart, Lisa.
yeah,
Mark.
yeah, exactly. That movie, it's good for trying to be different and for someone taking their work and trying to be original and doing something with it. It doesn't mean it's good. It's not. It wasn't good. I cannot recommend this show. Yeah, hot pot. I can't recommend this show to anybody. I really can't. It's so
fun.
I could not. Yeah. Again, we'll talk about some of the redeeming things during it, but I really, there are two shows that this is ranked above in my MAL, and that is Citrus, and for obvious reasons. No Game No Life is an 8 or a 9 for me. I can't remember. So, we're not gonna get into that though on this episode. And then the other one is Nakayimo, My Sister Is Among Them. So those are the only two shows that are lower. There are a couple that are evenly scored, but only shows that are lower than this on my MAL. So please do not watch this unless you're a fan of the source material. If there is source material, I don't even think there is. Is it?
It is an anime original.
It is an anime original. So so just don't watch it. There's no reason for you to. There's no reason at all. Don't do it.
Honestly, it's a very self-aware take on bad anime. Like Pat and I have had this argument.
Stop it.
But I firmly believe that the people who made this show and directed this show knew what they were making.
So my question for you then would be, my question for you then would be, if there is no source material, then why would they have the budget if they knew that this was going to be bad and they decided, okay, this is going to be bad? Why would they have any reason to create it if that was the case, since it is an anime
I
original?
think I know.
What the
Dude,
waifu?
it checks so many boxes for like degen incel culture.
But it didn't do
Brocon,
well.
Idols.
Yeah, I know, but it
well,
didn't
like on
do well
paper,
with
you can
that.
see why. Like, hey, there's shitty shows that like make money. Like,
But I don't think that. Well, I guess it did make money because it got a second season.
yeah, I was saying like this
even then,
probably
it's not.
made money.
I
Look,
just,
I think it appeals to two markets, right? It appeals to the market of Miles, which is this show has to, because I'm assuming there's not an interview explaining why the fuck they made this anime. So it appeals to both. This is clearly self-aware, and there are moments I could see that. I think the first episode in particular, they were really cashing in on the CG 3D camera angles. Like, I remember specifically when the main character is sitting at his desk and President Lily comes up, and it's like this really weird, like, intense wipe shot where like they go around President Lily, and it's like nothing intense is happening, but it's like it's so obvious they were just trying to like look at our camera work. It's so fucking
The
good.
entire show is so over directed. It is just outstanding. Like so many things, like what Has just mentioned, like where they will be running, and it will like pan around them running, and then like go up on them running, and like the camera work is super unnecessary.
but why does that make it good? That doesn't make it good.
No,
It doesn't.
because
Exactly.
If anything, this show is just basically just having that technology and advertising to other people through a show that is completely shit.
It's like
So in that vein, it is mainly meant to be a show that was supposed to be in like a fucking like a boardroom at like fucking Mappa or Ufotable, like trying to advertise technology, not for public consumption.
it doesn't.
Everyone hates.
I mean, does everyone hate it though? Because 3 out of the 6 of
Everyone
us
should.
did this show.
And,
Look,
Miles,
there-
you like this
excuse me.
ironically. You like this
That's-
ironically, so that's completely
okay.
different from liking it. No,
still
that's
like
no.
it.
You
But-
don't actually
no,
like it.
But see, that's
Intentional. I think that they intentionally made something to be like it's like a B movie, right?
That's where the debate comes in that I was gonna say. Like, it appeals to Miles, and then it also appeals to the people who take it seriously and just want to see all those check marks that Pete was talking about. The idols, the bro cis con, white hair girl, right? Like,
Huge jiggling
And-
tits.
and and because it's not like Konosuba, right? Where Konosuba makes fun of these tropes, but you know that it's aware that it's self-aware. It's like it's just fucking bad, but it's so bad. It's like there's no way a human did this without intent. But some people are just like, no, this was made to be good, and it has the things that I like, so I'm gonna enjoy it and consume it like that. That's how it.
Real quick. You know, I get what you're saying, Has. I definitely agree that I can't see how someone could have made this and said, yeah, that looks good. That's gonna sell. That's gonna be really, really good. At least critically, they couldn't sit there and say. I agree though with the whole points of, oh, this hits all the boxes to sell to, you know, like a general check mark audience. But Happy,
Me
go
2
ahead.
years ago, pretty much.
I can see it. I can most definitely see how someone would look at their work and be like, yeah, this will sell.
Yes,
And
Happy.
it did sell.
Sorry. Real quick question. What is incel culture?
Involuntary celibate.
No,
That's basic. It's basically the guys who are like, oh, every girl goes for the bad boys. They don't like nice guys, and it's really just because they're pieces of shit.
yeah.
Just go
That's
to
basically-
r/nice guys.
That's
nice
incel
guys.
culture.
I think we should be nice to the people who unironically liked this because Happy unironically liked it, and Happy is not an incel.
No, he's not. So no, but yeah. So I don't know. The way I would say incel culture is defined though is it's just, you know, it's liking certain things that are kind of frowned upon even among the anime community. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you know, like so like siscon things or I don't know, just really bad
Lolicons, you could say it.
lolicons. Yeah, well, yeah, I'll say it then. Yeah, well, yeah, I will gladly say that. According to my track record with Made in Abyss. Yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
At Pat
Anyways,
in the YouTube
yeah, at me.
comments.
Come on, fight. Go ahead. I will debate with you. I will politely debate with you
comment
because
section
every time
is
you
great.
come back to the comment section to make a comment, you're getting another view for us. So you're helping me. So go ahead. Go ahead and come argue
One
with me.
person makes a comment about Pat, and this is what he's doing.
Yeah, no, it's all it took.
It's
all
me
it took.
against the world.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I will fight every single. Well, I'm not scared of anybody who's like that either. Because I can't imagine they're scary in person. Go ahead, Happy. Sorry.
Would this be a bad time to say that my best girl in Bakemonogatari is Hachikuji?
No, because Best Girl's
no,
different.
no. Best Girl's different. No, that's completely
You
different.
said
Yeah,
your
don't worry.
wife
You said a waifu.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I don't have waifus, so I'm clear from the hatch.
Okay,
You're
if you
good.
foods, you're good. You're going. You're in the clear.
Yeah. Congrats, Happy. You're not an incel. Yeah. Yeah. So glad we had that. But Happy, did you have a point? Did you have a point
Yeah.
to make, or was that just your question? Was it just the question?
No, that was just a question.
Oh, okay, just making
feel
sure.
like- I feel like we scared you there, Happy. Are you okay? Like,
Yeah,
I feel like your
Is
blood
that
pressure went
deep?
up like you were getting cornered.
yeah. Okay,
He's
so
about to have a shower.
so the first thing I kind of want to talk about that it's not even a thing to talk about, just something to say. How the fuck did they make food in anime look bad? They didn't make it appealing, which it's like that's incredible.
Exactly.
I like that food that they kept showing, that the director kept
buffet.
trying to give them. I was just like, yeah, whatever the fuck it was called. I couldn't even be bothered to remember because I was just like,
that was the joke, though, right? The joke was
I don't know.
Yeah, I
No, no, that was not a joke.
joke. Type of
That
food
was a-
because only he likes it.
Well,
Yeah.
so I get that joke, but even then, like normally anime food looks like, but it looks good. But then they had the pork dumplings later on too that were just literally white onion circles. You know, like that were just awful.
Corn parfait did not look great either.
No, it didn't. That was
I don't-
my quick point. Yeah,
I
guess
don't.
that.
I think. Miles, I think you're looking too far into this show. Like, I genuinely think they really liked how this show looked. Like, I genuinely think that there was no self-awareness in this.
Yeah, see, no, I will come to them, but there are a few points where at least someone in the production staff was self-aware.
Yeah.
Like it's like the very last line, even, where the rando is just like, "Who wants to challenge me?" implying that he's God. Oh, spoiler alert! They never challenge God. Nothing ever happens in this
That's
anime.
all
but
season
it's
2.
okay. I think I looked at season 2. I think it's an entirely different cast.
It is a different cast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're just different handshakers. And then, like, so you think that this guy is God, and then he's like, "Just kidding," and then the show ends.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
No, it isn't. You
It's-
had me until then.
Fantastic is the farthest thing that you can be from the actual word.
It's like, oh my god. Okay, so it's not executed as well as this, but like, if you've seen Cabin in the Woods,
Love that
Mhm.
movie.
Love that
Love
movie
it.
too.
this is Cabin in the Woods. That's
No,
what
it's
they're
not.
No,
doing.
it's not. Kevin
For-
No,
for
it
an
is
anime?
not.
Cabin in
They're
the Woods
just-
was funny.
Yeah, so
And it
so
wa-
they're funny. They're in episode 7, where
Oh, the broken arms.
The broken
Broken
arms. The
Arms was
broken
great.
arms was
That
funny
was
as
great.
shit.
That was
Okay, the
great.
broken arms.
All right, so
got me.
let's get it. All right,
That
so
was
just,
it.
so explain to anyone who shouldn't watch the show and won't be watching it. Basically, they're doing a they're doing a cultural festival because every anime has to have that, right? And they're like, oh well, we're oh no, the guy comes up and running up to the two main characters. They're like, oh no, guys, our chefs were practicing for the culture festival. And they all broke their arms doing so from trying so hard. And it's like they show like 3 girls all walking in with like their arms and slings that are like, oh no, what are we gonna do now? How are we gonna do the culture festival? And like it's just like
It was genius.
that was so bad. It was so
seeing the
It was.
context that
It
makes
was
it
the.
amazing. So like one, they have been building up what's her name, main girl, Kiori,
Kiori.
cooking all episode.
cooking
I'll give
for
her that.
like 4 episodes.
Mhm.
They have
Yeah.
been working on, and this is the thing I honestly think the show did well. It like set little goals for the characters and had them achieve them over time. But so like it had her like maybe 2 or 3 episodes before this be like, oh, I want to learn to cook for Tazuna. And then she would like start practicing cooking, or like got a phone so she could look up recipes. And like she slowly worked towards this goal. And then they have the culture festival, and they put like a hurdle in front of Tazuna where he needs to use like his skills and his connections that he's made over the course of being a handshaker to like solve the problem. And then they just have no idea how to set up the same scenario for Kiori. So they're just like, every single person, and this is exactly what happens, every person in the school who knew how to cook
In the class,
breaks
yeah.
their arms.
Yeah.
And it is
Ridiculous.
amazing.
Literally
and they're
break.
like, who's gonna cook now? And Kiori had to. And it was just so like you can't tell me that's not self-aware.
Art,
So
it's art.
Miles, give me a second. All right. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about that one scene in that show. So throughout this whole show, I hate it. This whole show is a piece of shit. Like this the only show that is below this show in my ranking is Baki, and I genuinely hate Baki.
It's true.
Plug for another anime episode, another Let Me Explain episode, my podcast, where I'm just gonna be tearing into
Sick
Baki.
plug.
But this show is literally just a little bit above that. And the reason why is because of those 6 seconds. This show is like, what, 6 hours long? Like 6-ish hours long? Something like that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
about,
yeah.
It's like 4.5.
It's like 4 hours.
4 hours long. It felt
Yeah,
like
because they always
It
have
felt like
the
6.
Yeah, they
It felt
always
like
have the
6 days,
opening
so-
and ED. There is never an episode where they don't have the opening and the ED, which means that there was like 4 minutes or so every episode that was devoted to that. So that made it a lot easier to binge. I'll give them that. You know, there were no, it wasn't like
correction.
ReZero. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Correct me,
Uh,
Happy.
Episode 1 did not have the OP or the
You're
ED.
right.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
You're right.
it needed
Damn
it.
And
it
you
The
did
OP slaps though.
It
Maybe,
needed it.
maybe
was
I'm done.
okay.
Not
It's by the
Not
people
the-
who did the second Overlord OP. I enjoyed it.
the visual. The visual
Well,
is not too good,
here's-
but the song
Here's
itself, I like.
the song.
Well, here's the thing. So like those 6 seconds, yeah, that might have been self-aware because it was the only part in this show that was actually enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
Like every other part was abysmal. Like I couldn't see anything that was good about it. Like I understand the CGI. The CGI, okay, the CGI looks good, but like even the running CGI, like when we're looking at Koyori and Bland Bitch Girl and Bland Bitch Protagonist
Whoa,
walking up the fucking
what?
stairs, and
I feel
And-
like Tyler's a good protagonist. I legitimately think
I do
that.
too. I didn't think they were bland at all, to be honest.
I thought they were bland the whole.
I think they're a little bland, but it's not like the normal kind of bland. It's
Yeah,
a more
it's not
realistic
Kirito,
kind of bland. And it's not like
Like
generic.
Yeah, hey.
Even Kirito is at least like the reason why Blame Bitch protagonists are around is so that people who are watching it can relate to them, so that they don't have
'Cause
that
they're
many
bland.
traits. Yeah, like this
True.
show
so they can
has
apply themselves.
this show has no like actual like but the thing is, if we take away Kirito's like fucking phantom hacking god ability
Incarnation.
and then fucking transform that into being a fucking mechanism god or whatever, it basically turns from Kirito to Tazuna. Like that's literally it. Like that's
So-
character.
This entire show, right, is a giant metaphor for letting go. Right? So, I'm completely serious here. This is 100% what they were getting at. So the entire motif throughout all of this was Tazuna had a sister who died, and Kiori really reminds him of the sister. He, I guess, feels like his sister died of some illness, but he was young, and he feels a little bit responsible, I guess, for not
For no reason.
for like,
No,
I
like
mean,
he-
it's like survivor's guilt, right? Like he
wasn't-
never really blames himself. He just feels bad about it.
Yeah.
It sounded like he was upset that he wasn't there comforting her to the end.
Yeah.
Like he let go of her hand and then she died. and that's what he's feeling guilty about.
So he initially, and when they have to hold hands all of the time, uses Kiori as a proxy for his sister. But as it progresses and Kiori gets better, right, they are able to hold hands less because Tazuna is able to progress over his fear of letting go of his sister. So, like, you see that both metaphorically in the amount of time that they need to hold hands, and in reality with his ability to move on with his life and sort of forge a new reality, make new friends, do things for himself.
Yeah, it's convenient. It's convenient that the world decided to let it break its own rules for that kind of metaphor to happen. But-
Like, the issue was, like, because, like, no other handshakers had to hold hands the entire time, right? So, like, it was only...
No, the first ones did. The first
No,
ones
they
were
didn't.
always
No, they
they were
didn't.
always they were
Also, like,
connected. She was
he-
chained to him the entire time.
It's not the same thing.
That's not the same thing.
But they were touching the whole time. I thought that was that was my impression of
You
it.
can
And then
tell
of course
that
they
chick
changed
was
the
a
rules.
freak, and
That,
that's why
that
they
was a
kind
kink
of-
thing. She
that
was
was-
enjoying it.
Well, that's what I thought. The show. No, she wasn't enjoying. I don't
We'll
know if
get
she was
into the
enjoying
Sato
it.
She did.
masochism a
When
little
she
bit later.
was on the floor, she was like, "I'll do anything for you." When he was tightening it, like that's
But
her
couldn't
thing.
that be Stockholm syndrome too? Like that's the way I interpreted it.
I mean, if you want to look that deep
No.
into handshake,
Pat,
by all
Pat,
means, you
listen
can
to
look
me.
deep
Hey,
into it.
hold up. Hey,
Cat, don't do
so
that.
Well, I don't know. I was just like, I don't know. I felt like the way I looked at that was the guy was clearly in charge and was like making her do this, which again, you could have probably interpret that as her liking it. And they had that scene at the end where they walked past each other and they were together still, which it's like cool, but like, what if she wasn't happy or what if she was manipulated into that? That's the way I interpreted it at first. But again, I thought when I saw that first episode and I saw that thing going, I was like, oh, so it's going to show like how relationships can be very like manipulative or can have instances where one person is making all the decisions and that's why they didn't work well together. It's why they lost, is because the guy was forcing the girl to do this and she wasn't all about it. Or that's what, like versus then with the bond that Tazuna and Kiori had, I was like, oh, they actually care about each other, so that's why their bond is stronger, that's why they're going to win. That's the way I interpret it. And then of course then the next episode they throw that rule out the window where it's like, oh yeah, so you can let go of her hand sometimes, like like when he went to the bath scene. Oh my god, the bath scene. But they had to he let go of her hand for a split second. According to the rules that they defined earlier in that episode, she should have dropped dead right that moment, which of course I knew that wasn't going to happen, but still they adapted the rules multiple times about the hand holding, which again, Miles, I agree that that's a very good point. I think that was the metaphor they were going for with moving on and going on with life. But the fact that they just kept changing the rules when they felt like they needed it, especially since they did it like 8 or 9 times, it felt like.
I mean, the professor comes in, and sorry, I was talking over you, but he comes in and he's
good.
like, yeah, I forgot to tell you about Rule X or Rule Y.
Yeah.
Or he comes in and he's like, Rule C is slightly different now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. Like, I understand. Like, I'm not saying the show is like fucking, the Picasso of anime, right? Like, we're not looking at fucking Guernica here. But are we looking at something from the Blue Period? Maybe. So
No,
like,
I don't think we are, but yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, like, I don't know, it's not like great. Like, for sure they break the rules, and like I thought the same thing as you because like if they let go of their hands, they died. So I assumed that was true for all the other handshakers, and I assumed that the woman's like collar and chain was
a
acting.
substitute
It's
for
like it's like a linkage between them.
Right.
I did think that. And I did wonder, like, what the relationship was like, but people do, consent to those types of things.
Oh,
So,
of
like,
course, yeah, no, in general they do, but the way I saw it, because of the way that she was reacting and being treated, that's why I was just like, oh, that's a cool way to show this kind of relationship happening, and how just because you're holding hands with someone you might not, or you're related to someone like that, you're not necessarily happy or fully happy.
Do you think they explore that with the professor and his partner towards the end?
They definitely do.
Yep.
But I don't know. Like they definitely there was an attempt. You know what I mean? I think they tried.
They didn't do it well, but they tried. I'll give them that. Yeah. Happy. Sorry. Did you have something?
Well, yeah. It's just the first partner they fight, I hated them so much.
I did too.
Oh, they're my favorite
Yeah,
group.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
I agree with Pete.
I understand that, like, fan service and all this. I'm
Kinks.
trying to figure out.
Kinks. It's a good word for
Yeah,
it. It's like,
they're checking the
Sure.
boxes.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. But okay, so you've got this girl who is being constricted by. They're supposed to be metal, right? Like metal chains.
Yes.
Yep.
And she's on the ground. She's squirming. She's screaming. Her boobs are bouncing, and I'm like, oh.
yeah, the jiggle physics in this show, by the way, fucking nuts. Yeah.
Like, no joke. I honestly felt like mean spirited. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, because
Like,
I know
even-
chicks that like that stuff. So.
Well, so
Well,
do that's not
Yeah.
an uncommon thing. But the point was like, yeah, I can see that. I'm glad Happy and Miles both interpreted it that way, so I'm not alone. Because otherwise, I would have been like, oh, okay, then I get it. But now I can see. I think it's open to interpretation, which again might have been intentional, might have been an accident. We probably an accident knowing this show.
Yeah.
But
So-
Like-
So the thing is like, okay, so this is gonna be because like after the first episode we really don't see any of that pair until the end of the show.
Yep.
So at the beginning of the show, and this is where I think it isn't self-aware until like it doesn't really know what it's doing. So at the beginning of the show, it's basically like the guy. It's basically got that 50 Shades of Grey S&M or 50 Shades of Grey sadomasochism. So the guy is acting as if he hates the girl and is just trying and blaming her and blah 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 blah. And it's the same kind of like BDSM culture that 50 Shades of Grey started. That ended up becoming a small microcosm of like really like Stockholm syndrome relationships that ended up sending a lot of people to therapy. That's a whole nother discussion altogether. But at the end they just kind of brush it over because like basically they're just like, hey, here we are in this, and we're at a market or whatever the fuck it was, and we're just gonna act like a normal couple. Like, I get that you don't want to act like that all the time because then that makes you seem like you're gonna get arrested or whatever. But like,
yeah, the people keep it in the bedroom or in the ziggurat, as it were.
Yeah, the ziggurat.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but like,
which is never really explained.
Yeah.
when she fucking has an orgasm to send out 6 chains from under the ground, which they were doing beforehand, it makes no sense to me.
Did she have an orgasm or did she squeal in pain though? That's the
Oh,
thing.
no.
That was an orgasm.
I
She
think
had
it
an
was
orgasm.
very much an orgasm.
You think
That's
that
just
was
kinda
what
like-
it was?
She
the
is
first
not
half
in
of-
pain when she.
yeah.
Okay, let me.
She might be in pain, but it's still an orgasm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I guess so. I don't
So here's the thing, and also I wanna bring this up because this is another reason why I fucking hate. Yeah. So in the first episode, they are like it's S&M. It's obviously S&M, and here's the reason why. Because there's a cut
Of all the
where
chickens and the collar and the leash.
well, yeah, that, but like also the guy's foot is on her stomach in one scene, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, his
And
foot
then-
is on her vagina.
On her crotch.
No.
and
In
everything.
the
Yeah.
first scene,
Yeah.
in the first scene, it is on her stomach.
Yeah.
Then
yeah.
in the
Then it
second
moves
scene,
down.
it is on her vagina,
Yeah.
and then in the third scene, it is beside her, and it makes no movement, and it fucking triggers me so
Shot to
goddamn.
shot, like continuity in the show
Is
uh,
non-existent.
yes, honestly.
It's, it's
It's
so
like
bad.
I mean, I don't know. I agree with you, Kat. I assume that couple was not a great representation of the BDSM community.
In any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like people are laughing,
Yo,
but
Miles
like
is a freak.
I am not. I am very vanilla.
I love the way you deliver your lines today. It's just on point.
I do have like one friend who like very much cares about BDSM community representation and like how they are portrayed. And so I don't know. I'll have to ask him about it. But I definitely see it not being a, you know what I mean? It's like a very, like, you're right. He seemed malicious, right? Like he was sort of really enjoying the getting at it in sort of a, I don't know, like a,
which is
power-
partially
power
sadomasochism, but like the thing is, like he was, it was a little bit too far for that because I mean.
So, but honestly, besides that, I thought the relationships that they explored with all the other couples, I want to make sure that that's correct. Nope,
All but one?
All but, yeah. All but, you know, one of them.
I assume you're talking about the brother and sister.
Absolutely. What else would we be talking about?
Best one. What are you talking about?
I thought the rest were great, honestly.
Yep, me
Now,
too.
there is something that I loved about the brother-sister couple, and this is another thing that I think is self-aware. So we all know that sometimes there's like a propensity in anime for brothers and sisters to want to fuck, and so I thought, and I don't know about you guys, but I thought like pretty hard that what's her name? Kiori was going to be Tazana's sister. Like she had that surgery scar and stuff. Like I thought, like they were definitely like red herring us. I thought
For sure.
Okay, so
I agree.
I was like, oh my god! Like first 3 episodes or so, I was thinking like she's gonna be a sister and they're gonna fuck. But then we learned that she's not his sister, and I was like, wow, they like really like baited us with the incest thing. And then out of nowhere, President Lily is like, I want to fuck my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I talk about that scene?
Only like 15 seconds after we learn that the other incest isn't going to happen, and that juxtaposition has to be intentional.
Yes.
Like,
Can I talk about the scene where we first meet Masaru?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so
Hate him.
we get introduced to Masaru at this is something very similar to the breaking the arm scene, and I don't know if anyone caught this, but we meet Masaru playing Promise Memories, a trading card game. I'll just say like Yu-Gi-Oh, because that's what kind of.
That's what I thought of.
It's Card Fight Vanguard.
Sure. Okay, Vanguard. So we get introduced as soon as we get to the tournament scene. The announcer goes, "This is a 4-round tournament that we will be playing." As soon as he is done announcing, Masaru is in the grand finals against one other person of the 4-round tournament. The dead end emperor in a matter of 10 seconds went from the 4-round tournament to the championship match. And I was like, I'm almost certain that he said that this is a 4-round tournament, and there's like, I don't know, 50 plus people playing card games at the table, and it's just all of these people at the tables. Next scene, 2 people at tables. That's it. Immediately 2 as they introduced Masaru. I was like, what just happened? And then I think Miles, you had the other scene where we were introduced to the idol Kodama, where she's on like a Ferris wheel, and then she's just not there, and they don't fight there as they're like previewing the fighting scene on the Ferris wheel. I think you could probably talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so in the second episode with Kodama, like they go and seek her out because they realize that they're on the back foot. Tazana and Kiori realize that they're on their back foot, and that Kodama is stronger than anyone else they have had to fight so far. So the way that these episodes are structured is there is you get a clip from the middle of the episode, and then you sort of go like it goes skirt, and then Tazana looks up and he's like, "You might be wondering how I got here," and then they explain.
Exactly.
So, they're fighting Kodama and Nagamasa, who's her manager, on a Ferris wheel. They do the go back, and then they just never get to that Ferris wheel scene again. It just never comes up.
Mm-hmm.
The whole fight with them happens, sort of. Did you guys notice that very pivotal moments of fights happened off screen?
Yes,
Oh, no,
they
I
wouldn't
didn't
show
notice
them.
that.
No, there were
You-
like
you know
random
what I
times where
think?
like a fight would end. I'm sorry to cut you off, as there'd be times where the
No,
fight would
fine.
end, and then it would literally be on to the next scene or whatever, or there'd be like they'd be like clashing swords,
Yeah, and then it would just cut.
and
to
then it
the
would just
next
cut
scene.
to the next scene of them like one of them being victorious, and it was just like what? Like, or them
to
getting
be
cut in
honest-
half every time they get cut too, like they were like losing or whatever. They'd be, oh no, I lost, but they'd look fine, they'd be okay, and then they just move on to the next scene like nothing had happened. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, all this talk about cutting and end stuff. I really think it. I don't know how I don't feel like there's been a lot of a tone to how you've been presenting this, but to me, this helped the show a lot in terms of my consumability. Because the one thing I was talking about with Kat was like, the reason I don't like a lot of shows, the reason that shows go from like bad, like average bad to like fuck you bad is because they overstayed their welcome. If they had those full fights, the show would be way worse to me.
Oh, yeah.
I think the fact they just kept pushing it, I'm so happy. Like, this is one of those, like, it has to be self-aware. They knew no one wanted to see this shit. They kept it pushing. And I'm so glad they did. Because it really brings up... Because then we get to the points where, like, I love my brother. I don't know what the fucking quote was. Miles knows it.
I got it.
It was great.
It's like,
it
do
was-
you think it's weird to be in love with your little brother?
Yeah.
I believe is the quote.
It's something like that.
And they were like, no, it's not. And it's like, what the fuck? This is hilarious.
I love
But-
how supportive everyone was of that relationship. Everyone was just like, yeah, you know what, President
question.
Lilly? You do you. And like, there's
No
even a
fucking
part at the end where they're like, we have to be more discreet. That's my what's his name voice. Don't we,
Mas-
sis? And like, they're just like secretly holding hands.
Yep.
This bringing up President Lilly, something the show got extremely wrong at every turn is anatomy of the human body.
True.
So, you know,
Yeah.
Miles, let me. I just want to preface with this. I refuse to think that that Sato chick, I mean masochism chick, and President Lilly. I refuse to think that their breasts are actually breasts. I think that they are severed heads that are moving. I refuse to think that those are
well,
breasts.
it's still like for the women in the show that were well endowed, the artists were like, "How do we make big boobs?" And someone was like, "I don't know, draw a
Just
bigger
scale them up."
semicircle, like in every direction." Like if you have big boobs, your boobs don't grow up. Like that doesn't happen, right? Like you don't get added height to them. It's not a real thing. You know, like that's not like they literally were just like semicircles that were both like independently moving, like it was Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Great game.
yeah, maybe. But like I don't know. But honestly, not even just the boobs. Like Tazana's hands, I think, are too small. His shoulders and stuff, like the proportions are just off. Like,
Yeah.
you know, anime has different proportions than if you were just like heads are larger, eyes are larger. You know,
Hair's larger.
We're used to that sort of thing, but the proportions are still scaled in such a way where it makes sense. And like, if you look, and I don't know if anyone else was bothered by this, but like specifically how like Tazana's arms, I think, just super bothered me.
That's random.
Yeah.
What?
Like I draw in my spare time. I'm not good or anything, but like I you know, I don't know. Like I have to pay attention to these sorts of things, and since I've picked up that hobby, proportions and stuff have been like a thing that has like really bothered me when they're off. And especially because like Lord knows I can't do it. It's like my arms will just be like way too short. But yeah, I don't know. I just like there was just like incorrect body proportions throughout the entire series. Characters were not drawn consistently, shot to shot. It wasn't great,
Literally shot after, like shots back to back were not
Yeah,
drawn
like shot to
consistently. That's
shot,
where
like,
it was.
yes.
Literally shot to shot, not just like from one episode to the next. Literally from like a pan down to a pan left to right. There would be differences, and it was really, really bad. Happy,
And sometimes
you had a point
characters
you
just
made.
don't are just randomly disappear too.
Yeah, that too. The random disappearances of characters in the background from like I don't know how that works, but
Oh.
yeah, just bad. But Happy has a
Oh,
point to
yeah.
make, so Happy
So,
is going to make his point. Thank you.
So I would just like to point out that I don't know how long we've been going, but we have not had like any structure since the first impressions.
No, no,
That's how the
how-
podcast goes.
Consciousness.
That's how we normally do it now. Yeah, we kind of like have the intro, the conclusion, and then the or best girls, and then the conclusion. But in the middle, it kind of just we let the conversation flow. We have Miles and I come in with talking points, but generally we let it just go how it flows. So we're approaching about 5 minutes or so. So
So,
far, I think we're good.
Yeah, Happy. So you liked the show, right? So like,
Yes. That's
Yeah.
not to say I liked everything.
well, you don't need to like everything about a show to like it, right? Like I think one of
Sure,
my favorite
sure.
shows is Konosuba, and I think it has its faults. But what did you like? Is there a thing that you liked that you want to talk about, like specifically?
I think the characters would be the strong point. Like the plot is silly. It's got it, like you said, it breaks the rules. It's pretty repetitive. Like it's kind of like Princess Principal, where like every episode of that show is like a case, and like every 2 episodes is like a fight, and they get introduced to the new opponent or whatever. But I think the characters, especially when you find out like what their dreams are, I think that's where the show shines. Even with the brother-sister team, which I don't like. I don't like that they did that because I'm thinking like, okay, you realize this is fiction, right? You could have just made them like childhood friends, and I think it would have still had, conflict because they had the whole thing of, oh, we really don't want to fight you, but we have to anyways, and I think that would have still worked. But you had to make it, they're brother and sister, and they're in love with each other. And it's like, okay, you're now at that point, you're just being awkward just to be awkward.
You're
or
just
to
ticking
be
the box.
controversial.
They did it so
Yeah.
they could add the incest right after we thought as the audience that they weren't going to do the incest thing. I firmly believe that.
Though? Why? Why
I
did
don't know.
they do
Dude,
that? 'Cause
Japan.
they're not the main They're not
Yeah.
the main characters. This isn't the gimmick of the show. This isn't Oremo.
It's because it's
like-
funny.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's not
It's so
funny in
funny.
any.
I
they also
Happy, your point though is great. I think about the like what you said. The characters definitely are the strongest point of the
Yeah.
show. I'll give it that for sure. Another point that I wanted to be strong with the show was the biblical references. I don't know if you've ever heard me talk on the show about shows that use biblical references, and I think that those are sick storytelling elements. I think it's a fantastic way to write a show and then have those references or those comebacks. Same thing with like fairy tales too. Like that. It's one of the reasons why I love Ruby so much, and Happy probably one of the reasons you love it too is Ruby references all these old. Like Joan of the Arc, Little Red Riding Hood, all these different fairy tales and things like that.
Joan of Arc is historical.
Is
Anyways,
historical, right? No,
continue.
but that's my point. Though. I understand. I'm a history major. I know that. Like come on.
No,
It's a real thing. But that's my point. They
That's the thing
reference.
that I would have messed up.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. No, but they reference historical characters in or historical moments or mythical things, and then they use that as a storytelling element and a way to
Okay,
tell.
like Fate or whatever.
Yeah, kind of exactly. That's why I think I would really like Fate. If I ever started it, I'm sure I would like it.
You haven't seen Fate?
Oh my god.
Dude, again,
You're
it's Battle
sleeping.
Shonen. It's Battle Shonen. It's not.
It's
Fate.
not Battle
Don't
It's not a shonen
No?
at all.
don't
It's not Battle. It's not. That's,
Fight
don't
and-
don't ever say that again.
sorry. Okay, that was
You
my
lost
impression
your
of it.
weeb card. Sorry, bro.
That,
Yeah, I did.
that's
Okay.
offensive.
Well, it's the same thing with. Still haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So
Yeah,
that's-
you're a
that's-
scrub.
I'm sorry. I don't have 64 episodes worth of sitting down to watch something in me.
Yes, you do.
But you
I-
had 12 for this.
Not with seasonals. Yeah, well, no, I didn't want to have 12 for this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have if it wasn't for you guys. So
Well, you-
thanks, by the way.
Anyway,
Um,
I'm genuinely curious. What are the biblical references? I must have missed every single
Well,
one.
so it's
As
not-
someone who went to
God.
16
Well, so
years of
here's the
Catholic
thing.
school.
So this is, well, for one, well, yeah, like has said it, it's God, but of course God's not specifically biblical, and maybe biblical was the wrong term because it's more Mesopotamian, and so I get when I say biblical, I guess I meant more like historical references. So in this case, they talked about the Tower of Babel, which that is a Bible reference, or it is
Yes.
a biblical reference, and then they also talked about Ziggurat and Nimrod, which, by the way, Nimrod being the name of the
Biblical
weapons.
hunter.
It is biblical, but it's also with the current definition of what Nimrod is used for, which is to describe like an idiot or someone who's like just not there, who's just stupid. I think that is so funny that they used that in this show unironically, or maybe ironically if you think that they were using it ironically. But again, so that's my point. Yeah, so it is a little. Those are the biblical references or the historical references, whatever you want to say, to like Babylonian and Mesopotamian history. And I love when shows use that as storytelling elements. But the problem was they didn't actually do anything with it, which is what pissed me off so much about the show. Like, you set it up. It's same thing with, and again, this is probably why I haven't gone back to finish Eva. After I heard that the biblical references in that are just there because they think it's cool, that annoyed the fuck out of me. I wanted it to make sense. I wanted it to be cool. So it's just like, I don't know. I can't stand when shows set up something like that and don't act on it.
Well,
It pissed me off
Ava
so much.
does have sort of like a rebirth theme.
It
to
does.
It.
It's
It's not like they don't explain. I don't know. It's better than this. That's what I'll say.
Oh, for sure. No, I like the Eva references, like the angels and the spear of Longinus. Using that was it was so well done. And I don't care if they just did it because it's cool and then it just coincidentally lined up with how if the stories are told in the Bible. It's still sick, and I want it to make more. I just wish I didn't know that they didn't do it intentionally, which is what annoyed me, or at least didn't knowingly do it.
A little side note: do you know how Nimrod came to mean like idiot as opposed to being a reference to the hunter?
I actually do not. Please let me know.
So in Looney Tunes, when Bugs Bunny would make fun of Elmer Fudd, he would call him Nimrod because they were both hunters, and so that over time. Like, because whenever he was like calling him an idiot, he would call him Nimrod. Is how that happened. So it's like
that is so cool.
Yeah,
that's really interesting because again, I knew Nimrod. Again, like the modern definition is completely different than what it means in a biblical story. I remember when I first read it in like a biblical thing, I was just like, wait, what? Like, why are they calling this guy an idiot? Like, or how did this guy must be an idiot from, like how the definition came to be. But that is so cool how American culture influenced that, I guess, or Looney Tunes, which is American culture. Language, it's so cool.
Which actually makes me wonder if like it was an unironic use of Nimrod because
it probably was.
Yeah, like I don't know how English is in Japan, but
in England, their Nimrod is genuinely a solely like biblical thing, and because if you don't know, and if English isn't your first language, American English and like British English or Standard English they're basically two different languages because we use more like Spanish and Latin in our lexicon than Standard English does. They use more Germanic. So, yeah.
Yes, and they also spell Q incorrectly.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I honestly I do want to explore the relationships a little bit. If we have time.
You can do that quick, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly I thought that like they explored the different kinds of relationships like that people could have, like sort of like. And what I thought was neat was that there were so many different platonic relationships that they explored between people of opposite genders, right? Like the two co-workers who were really close friends, Chizuru and her employee, and then like the manager and Kodama. I thought that was like really neat. Happy?
Can I cut in for a minute?
Yeah, of course.
This might seem really, really random, but did anybody get Toradora vibes with Chizuru?
No. Yeah, kind of.
I also got
yes.
Yeah, kind of
vibes from her.
Got what vibes? Sorry,
Edward Elric.
Yeah,
Edward.
Oh,
yeah, for
sure,
sure.
sure. I can see that.
Yeah, she was OP.
Yeah, she was really good at alchemy, and that's why. No, because she was really short, and everyone made fun of how short she was. Or young looking. But yeah, I did kind of get Toradora. They did like the sort of tsundere, small, angry girl thing, right?
Which is Taiga. That's all Taiga is. That's
yeah,
all she
I
ever
mean,
will be.
this show has a bunch of just one other that I noticed. The idol is in this show is just Kurumi from Data Live.
100%.
Exactly.
And that's the first thing I thought, and I was like, "Wow, I didn't know we had a crossover here. This is fire."
Does she
And I
use
was
her quotes and stuff?
I don't know. I just
Because
It's like her
Oh,
character
Kodama
model.
That was
it's her
a
exact character.
Can we talk about the quotes for a second?
she was like Makishima, but like discount Makishima from Psychopaths, and I
Yeah,
loved
yeah.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, She was the
I
quotes,
hated it.
but-
I hated every part of it.
Oh my god, I loved how that wasn't
Okay.
actually her. Like, I honestly thought that was neat. How, like, she had this, like, whole persona that she bought into so much. And, like, she, like, didn't treat her manager very well, even though he was the one that was, like, giving her this persona. And, like, I don't know. Like, she actually had, like, what seemed like actual character progression and stuff. Like, she, you know, rededicated herself, sucked up her pride, and talked to that president again. She, like, I honestly think that the people who lose these fights, and amazingly, the couple that wins them all, learn things after all of them and progress their relationships. And I think it's outstanding. Like, I don't know, if this show had a framework that wasn't absolute fucking garbage, it could have been good. So what's up?
I think there's a lot here. Like, as bad as it's rated, there's a lot here that's good. But the problem is, it's like if you had a room that was like a New York City apartment, small, right? And overpriced, but it had like Vincent Van Gogh's original art on the wall. Like, it doesn't make the whole point of this house is to live in. There's this really cool part, but it doesn't make it any more livable. Like, the cool shit doesn't really help you consume it. Like, you know, I think there's a lot. Like, I love the characters. Another thing I liked, even though it was misused and misplaced, was the music. I thought the music was great. It was just in all the wrong places.
It was, yeah. It was
They had this really chill lo-fi beat during a fight, and I was like, and they kept it on through the regular conversation after the fight, and I'm like, did nothing change? Like, what the fuck am I watching? It was really I think it was when, and the same thing happened when the guy that's revealed at the end to be like the original Doctor's handshaker partner. Like, when you meet him, the soundtrack is just like chill lo-fi, upbeat shit, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is fire, but why here?
It happens literally every episode without fail. It happens. There is at least like one moment where I was sitting there and was like, huh, this is nice music, this guitar and this piano are nice, but they are so out of place. They don't feel like they should be playing right now. Or it's like, okay, it's been 10 minutes of this and there have been 4 different scenes in different locations. Please change the music to match the tone of the show or the tone of what's going on. That's such a good point. Go ahead.
So one of the things that I really wanted to jump in on was the music, because when I first heard the music in the background, it kind of rung a bell with me, because if you know who Nujabes is, he is the guy who made a lot of the soundtrack for Samurai Champloo. So he basically kind of perfected the whole genre of jazz hop and chill hop, that type of thing, and he actually died in like 2006, I think. But after that, he had a lot of tributes come in, and some of the songs in the soundtrack, like some of the songs in the background from it, were from Kyo Itachi, DJ Owakari, and DJ Ezekiel. A few Japanese artists that actually got their rise from like mimicking and kind of taking the style from taking things away from Nujabes. And the thing and the reason I say all this is because this show doesn't deserve it at all. Because not only does this show take the songs that are honestly extremely amazing on their own and could be well used in a show that would actually use them correctly, it takes them and puts them in parts of this show that shouldn't be there. Like, of course, with the fight scenes, of course, with the scenes where it's supposed to be serious, it doesn't do anything well with them. And honestly, I think if they took those same songs that they used, and some of them they actually, if you listen to the songs in the background, some of the songs were literally the same. They just upped the tone or lowered the tone in the background just to make it seem like it was different. And the thing is, if these songs were put into a show kind of like Made in Abyss, kind of like a show that has the same feel of Made in Abyss, but actually has these songs put somewhere where it would actually work, it would rise the atmosphere of the show like tremendously. But because it's in this show, it does nothing. It's just shit, in my opinion. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm off Xbox now, because if I go any more into it, I'm gonna start streaming. Anyway,
That was something I honestly didn't pick up on, was like misplaced music. I just thought the music was pretty nice.
I was too busy
Yeah,
looking at my
it's
phone
nice.
to pay attention.
I was looking at my phone too. That's why I would like look up and I'd be like, "Wait, there's a fourth scene going on right
Yeah.
now. Like, what the fuck? Why?" Because like usually when you hear the music change, that's a sign of a scene changing or something happening that matters to the story. They didn't. There would be things happening because I'd be hearing it happen, but then I'd look up and I'd be like, "Oh, they're in a different place now. Oh, they're in the alternate world right now out of nowhere, but nothing happened. Or like the music didn't change, so I didn't know. I don't know. Again, that's probably me not paying enough attention while watching it. But again, it's hard.
No, it was,
so
I had the same problem.
some of the songs from the show are "Love Mugen," "Rest in Peace Nujabes" by Kyo Itachi, "Last Wish," "Rest in Peace Nujabes" by DJ Ezekiel, "A Long Day" by DJ Ezekiel, and let me find it. Crap, where is it? I think it wasn't Fairy Tale. It was
I think we get the point, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. The way that I viewed this entire show, and I said this in chat earlier, is that this is the whose line is it anyway of anime. The rules are made up and the points don't matter. And I think if you take that approach to this, it's a highly enjoyable experience. If you just, the rules are changing, who cares? Just go with it. Just let go.
I think it's more
Yeah.
enjoyable, but if for one, since we're looking at it critically, because that's kind of what we do here, it's hard. You can't do that. But then also, too, I wouldn't have enjoyed this even if I wasn't going in expecting or wanting something. I don't think, because it's not my. But of course, I guess that's not my genres though, too. So that's fair. I think that's a fair point to make. One last quick point before we move on to best girl, worst girl, and so on. Did anyone notice how fake the texting was in certain scenes, like where they'd be clicking? on their
Yo,
phone?
there's
It was
there's
so
a scene.
bad.
You
There's
can't
a
see
scene
me, but I'm
that took
doing
me
it.
out because it was I don't see Pete, but I imagine he's doing this. This is exactly what President Lily was doing.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
The screen didn't move. The
The
screen
screen
did not
was not
move.
moving. The phone
She
could have
was
been
in-
locked, and she was just going like this.
That's
Did,
exactly what she did.
did
And they were
anyone
texts going back and forth too. That's the worst part.
what's her? Sorry. God, I can't remember anyone's name of the show. That's how good it was.
Yeah.
So Kiori gets a phone, and then like 2 episodes later is the first time she texts anyone that we hear, and then that made me realize, because she texts President Lily, that Kiori could have been communicating with Tazuna for like 2 whole episodes via phone, and they just never do that. That never happens.
Like you said, the rules are made up and the points don't mean anything. It's
No,
like,
I noticed that, and I was just like, this is just like a giant plot hole. We could learn so much about her because she could just
Yeah.
text people now.
Even- Yeah, and she seems to like get her message across usually to Tazuna through just like nodding or shaking her head or doing
Yeah,
whatever.
she like with the she makes that, you know,
Yeah.
like, is it or a like that's the sort of the deal. I don't know. I thought it was cute.
I thought it was gonna be Nezuko
I did.
again.
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know. I was shocked when that came when she started speaking, because at that point in the show I was just like expecting her to not speak for the
It
rest
was
of it.
early. I thought
It was
I
pretty
thought it
early, yeah.
Next episode. And I liked that. I also liked during that scene that Tazuna is like, you know what? You can protect me now. You know, like I don't have, because he like tries to protect her, but she's like, yo, don't worry, I got this. And he's just like, you know what? You do got this. Like, you can do this. That's great. Like, I'll let you have the lead on here. And not to SAO bash, but I
Okay.
compare it favorably. You know I like SAO, Pat.
Mhm.
Don't even. To compare it favorably to a scene from SAO, in when they're in the canyon and Asuna saves Kirito, but then all of a sudden Kirito has to save Asuna again. When he's paralyzed, and then you know the guy like attacks Asuna, and he manages to like unparalyze himself or whatever
That's
from the
what
poison.
she does. She does that to him, to save him actually.
No, you're thinking of episode.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
What, she's talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
with the laughing coffin member that was
Yeah,
in
yeah, the
Knights of
laughing
Blood.
coffin member. You're right. Sorry.
You know what I
Yep,
mean? It's
understood.
like Asuna was supposed to have a moment there, and it got a little bit upstaged.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this one, I mean, it lets Kiori have a moment and let her be badass, and I appreciated that.
That's fair.
So I thought that was good.
Yeah, so I guess we can segue that perfectly into our next stage of discussion. So first we got best and worst girl. I don't know. I get best boy and worst boy. I don't really know if that's even really applicable in this show, because they're all.
I think
It's a great
100%.
people. There's lots of
They're
great
all-
people.
So, I don't know. I think they're all just okay. They're not like, and none of them are like particularly stand out versus with the girls.
I think
there
there's
are.
an easy worst boy.
Oh yeah.
There is an easy worst boy. Exactly. That's kind of like my point. There's an easy worst boy, and then like the best boy. It's kind of like the final, like the top 3 are all the same. In
Is
my
there
eye.
really an easy worst boy? Because I feel like
It's Masaru.
It's
like-
Masaru.
Or it's
It's
Masaru.
100%
It's
Masaru.
Masaru.
oh yeah,
Masaru? Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's easily worst
What?
boy.
Are we forgetting someone?
Yeah, the chains guy.
The
Oh,
guy-
Oh, he was fine.
Sec-
That's what she's
Yep.
into.
I was
He's-
expecting that.
Her name? Hold on, time out. Her name is Bind. Like,
I know her
And
name.
his
her
she's
name is
name's
Break.
into that. Like, it's perfect.
And the guy's name is Break.
Break, yeah.
Break. Okay, break. Thank you. I don't
They
see
get
it that
along.
way.
So
She
you
seems
see
to
them be a normal couple where
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
Yeah.
gonna come all over
I-
the place.
If you
well,
go back
yeah,
and watch the first episode and listen to the dialogue, I promise you it's gonna. Because I feel like a lot of us just were half paying attention. But like, if you listen to the dialogue, I know at the beginning it's very confusing because I thought it was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? But by the end of it, she's nutting. Like it's not.
Alright, alright, anyways, we're going a little too
she's
far into
winning
this.
in that situation.
Yeah.
Again, I think
They're-
it's,
they're
I think it's
getting-
open for either interpretations. There's no need to go any further with that. But so yeah, we'll just do. I think we'll just do best girl and worst girl, just for the sake of time as well, because we are about to hit, I believe, an hour and a half almost. Yeah, we're getting close. So yeah, God bless us for being able to talk about this show for that long. But first, all right, we're just gonna go down the list. Miles, what's your best and worst girl?
Sure. I guess this is probably going to be a little bit of a dark horse for best girl. I don't know, maybe someone else will have her, but Kodama's my best girl. And so that's the idol.
Yep.
And my worst girl And she had like a really interesting character arc where she started out as a good character, and then they just fucking threw her right in the garbage as President Lily for Worst
Yeah,
Girl.
that makes sense. I think that's...
It was really funny actually. Like she starts off and she's like this like really like admirable. I thought she might be the love interest, and then
Yeah.
at the end she's like literally just like rolling around like fucking dreaming about her brother.
What's your best boy? I'm actually more intrigued about people's best boy in this show than best girl.
My best boy is the Chizuru's assistant, Hayate. Is that his name?
Hayate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. Kat, what's your best boy, best girl, whatever, so on. You know the deal.
Okay, so best girl is the Loli
Chizuru.
because she was the least annoying. Worst girl is... It's honestly a toss-up between President Lily and the fucking Idol. Like, the Idol pissed me off with how many times she would quote shit.
Cap.
Yeah,
Like,
it's character depth. You
Cap.
don't like character depth?
I thought it was interesting, although again they did nothing with it. That's where I
They
got
did do something with it. It wasn't her
Anyway.
thing. Like it showed like the shallowness of her character.
I guess they did that with it, but
it
that's my
still
point, though.
pissed me off though. Like I
wanted it to
didn't.
be her.
Like I just genuinely hated it. Like I don't care if it was her character or not. Like
It was
I
discount
just fucking hated it.
Makishima from Psychopaths, and
I've never seen Psychopaths, so I don't know.
your loss.
But like, best
And
boy is I guess we're gonna go with Paris because dude, fucking what's
Hayate.
his name? Actually, no. Break Chain. I actually liked him.
Break.
Going with Break. Okay.
Break? Really? The
Yeah.
best character who's in the show for like 8 minutes?
Exactly. That's why he's the best character.
Okay, fair.
Fair enough. All right. Happy, you're next. Let's get your best boy and best girl, so on.
All right, I can do that. So best girl, Chizuru. I really liked
choice.
her. I liked her. I think she's my favorite tsundere, even if she's pretty one-dimensional as a tsundere, I'd feel. But she's fun to watch. Best boy, I don't remember his name, but he was like Kodama's manager. Anybody remember his
Hibiki.
name?
Nakamasi.
Hibiki. Okay, he was
Hibiki,
good.
yeah.
I think that might just be because I like Sunny Straight. 'Cause he's the one who voiced Hibiki. And then worst girl, worst boy, Break and Bind. I'm sorry. I think part of the
Fair.
problem is because you say that, oh, it's like they're into S&M and she's into it, but they don't ever really establish that. So to me, it just came
Really?
across as like really
I'm on Happy's side with this.
I
It-
Yanni's
I
all
can
that
I
fighter
can
game.
see
really
how you can
abusive.
interpret it
It's
either
a
way.
45-second clip. They don't need to establish it. The characters don't matter. Much like the entire show.
Well, there you go. That's
No,
Exactly.
yeah, that's another thing too, is that okay, actually, quick tangent. When I was watching this show, I genuinely wondered if there were going to be any rematches, and there weren't. Thank goodness there weren't, because I would have probably flipped my lid if we had another rematch with Break and Bind.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's completely fair, Happy, because I know I interpret the same way you did. So I think it could go either way, whether it's consensual or not consensual. That's a bad word for it, but like whether it's in S&M or if it's
that's the right word for it.
all right. But anyways, Haz, let's get your best boy, best girl, so on.
Best girl for me is Kurumi from Data Live.
Good choice.
The worst girl is the President Lily. I think just because I didn't bring this up when y'all were talking about it, but I'm intrigued. I'm a little bit of an connoisseur of the ecchi harem category of anime. And I've watched the Girls Bravo. I've watched High School DxD, High School of the Dead. I've seen the Insane Juggle Physics, but this is offensive. Like President Lily is offensive to my eyes. So yeah, and also they just completely dropped the love interest. like Miles was saying, everyone's really supportive because she was supposed to be the love interest. Then she's like incest, and the main character's like, yeah, you and incest. Anyways, worst boy or best boy, I think it's Biggie, the manager, just like Happy. Thought he was very positive the whole time, and I like the positivity. Worst boy is the MC. Now the reason I have the MC as the worst boy is because even though he does change by the end, I kind of just feel like he's a bitch, and it might be Deku. It might be Deku's voice acting that helped with that, but a lot of what he does, like, and I get it too because there's a part of it that's kind of funny, but the fact that like he immediately gives up on the love interest that he had when she's like incest, and like he's scared to let go and shit like that shit kind of blows mine a bit. But yeah, no, he's and Masaru is bad, but Masaru, like, I didn't have expectations for Masaru. He's a piece of shit.
Oh, real quick, I know we're trying to wrap up, but real quick tangent. You know that the guy who voices oh jeez, I forgot his name. Main character MC. What's his name again?
Tazuna.
Oh yeah, he's also Monotone Grimgar.
Is he really?
He is Monotone Grimgar.
So best
yes.
boy, actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Too good for this world.
Exactly.
He also did the MC of Death March to a Parallel World.
Yikes.
Pete, what's your take on this?
Yeah, pretty easy. I'll do a quick. Worst boy, Masaru, not even close. Worst girl, President Lily, not even close. Best girl, I really like Chizuru. She was fun. I like I think Miles said it. Just like how they lose, but they grow. Like they learn that like it was kind of a flaw in the show where like they're fighting. Their reasons for like fighting in the ziggurat is like I'm sad at work. Like people don't respect me, so I'm gonna go find God. It's like that's a little excessive, but like they kind of grow from it, and it's like it's kind of cool to see like the side characters not like get written off of the show, and not only written off, have some character growth. And I just liked Chizuru. She was a bundle of fun. Best boy tied for the main doctor's assistants. So the doctor for Tazuna, and then the like last boss. Just total bros that they're literally sacrificing the rest of their life to try to save like the twins and try to find what happened to, I guess they refer to him as like Sensei and Koyori and her sister's mom, like, because they just disappear. Mm-hmm. So I thought they're just total bros. Like they're literally sacrificing their life to try to help out like these people in this family. And it's like that shows like that how good of a character and how good of people they are. So big fan of those two.
There you go. I like that. That ties it. I'm glad someone else brought that like later on, or characters that weren't introduced until later on, because my best boy was the guy, the father of Koyori, and the sister or her sister. I thought that was awesome that they were like, oh, we've got to win this. We got to win it for the safety of our children.
He
like
gets a little murdery though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Well,
That's
you
what
get
I thought.
murdery too if you do that.
Win you for your own children. That's the way I interpreted it. Yeah.
To paint it as excessively murdery though. That's how I took it, at least.
I enjoyed that. I thought that was cool. At least that was
I
good
like
because that piqued my interest when I was so done with this fucking show that I was just like, okay, this is pretty cool. So that's best boy. Worst boy. I guess I gotta agree. It's Masaru. It's not even close. Worst girl. I don't know. I liked Lily outside of the incest part, but even then, she's. So you know what? No, I will. Koyori's sister. I didn't care about her at all. Like her weapon was cool with the ball. But I didn't really care at all about her, so she's worst girl for me. And then best girl though, I can't believe no one said this. Tazuna's mom. Oh my god. Oh my god, she is fantastic. She is like, So that's I think that's in like you know So, yeah. No, I don't know how that sounded so weird. She's just a MILF. That's the best way to put it. She's a total MILF.
Too. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, that's weird.
Are we in the last minute?
Is it weird? Who cares if it's weird? I don't know. She's a MILF. That's great. Like, cool. Like, it's not, and that's a describing term, and not only just in physical appearance, but also like her. She's really funny, and she's got a fun personality. I don't know. I enjoyed her personality a lot, so that's why
I
she's best girl.
Personality too. Don't worry.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. There you go. Thanks,
really
Miles.
carried the
Look
plot.
at you.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we move on to our closing thoughts. We'll go in the same order. Give me your closing thoughts and your final score. Miles, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. If you look at the individual pieces of this show, they're not good. And when you put them all together, it's not great.
It's still not good. Yeah.
However, if you dig through that, you might find one or two pieces of this I don't know, collage that you've made out of garbage that is not garbage, but like maybe recyclable. You know what I mean? Like something that can eventually serve a purpose again.
Eventually.
I don't know. I thought it was fun. It's certainly not good. If you're the type of person who can watch something that's bad and enjoy it, because it's not great. Like I love Riverdale, for example. And that's definitely not art. If you can like campy shit that's just bad and campy, I honestly think you would enjoy Handshakers. I'm gonna give Handshakers a 6 out of 10. And yeah, that's my score for it. 6 out of 10.
All right, thank you, Kat. Let's move on to you. Let's hear your score again. So we're trying to wrap up too. So let's keep it to 1 minute at the most.
Okay, so my thing is, after discussing with you guys for a while, the only reason I'm smiling, first of all, Euphoria, and second of all, you guys are kind of funny.
Thank you.
But
You
the
meant
thing
Miles.
the thing is, like, this show, with discussing with you guys, I had to raise my score of the show a whole ass point.
Damn.
It's a 2 out of 10.
Let's go.
2 out of 10. No, I'll give you that. There you go. All right, 2 out of 10. There we go. Happy, your turn. Let's hear your score here. So out of 10.
Okay. So this show, obviously, as we discussed, not good. It is not the worst. There are worse shows. There are shows that I would gladly put this over. It's got some rough spots. I would not recommend it, but it also has some genuine high points, I feel. So I'm gonna stick with, I think it was Miles' score, and I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10.
A 6 out of 10. Okay. 6 out of 10. There we go. Let's move on to Hastig or Haz. What do you got?
So in conclusion, if you like Absolute Duo, that dog shit anime, you'll like this. Because this is Absolute Duo with better characters, shittier CGI, and better music in worse places. So I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10.
Wow, these are high scores. At least higher than I thought they would be. Pete, why don't you go next?
Yeah, this show's bad. It had points where I thought it could make up for how bad it was by doing stupid things and making it kind of funny, like the arm breaking scene, the
So funny.
the trading card game scene. Like those are just stupid, but it makes me smile, and so I like that.
Yeah, it's a good time.
But there was a lot of points where it was trying to be like, I don't know, either be like dumb or trying to be like super serious, and it was like doing it all over the place. It was a mix. I do want to say episode 11 was fantastic for how stupid this show is and how they tried to like wrap everything together and understand the premise of like why Kaori would die in the ziggurat compared to other people. I thought that was really well done. So props to episode 11, but then it's counteracted by episode 2 where it's like an 8-minute bathing scene and it was super uncomfortable. So that sucked ass. That being said, lots of plot holes that just didn't make any sense. I like the side characters more than the main characters, and that was like a big thing for me in terms of anime. So by the end of it, I was hovering between like a 3 and a 4, and I think I'm ending up giving it a 4, but it's still a really bad show.
A 4. Okay.
But it's a fun bad show.
It can be fun.
It is.
It can also be cringe. And I hate
Honestly,
cringe.
like if
It's
the show
fun when
was all bad, but the arm break scene happened, I think I'd still give it a 6 out of 10.
Like,
I just love
that
that
scene
so
is like a
much.
14 out of 10, but like the rest of the episode is a 2.
The scene is hilarious.
So like Pete said, Pete used the word cringe there to describe it. That's what I did a lot of that while watching this, and I can't agree more. I think we've already kind of said everything that I've said everything I wanted to say about this show. That bath scene was just so uncomfortable and cringy. I just couldn't. Oh, that was so bad. And I think one thing we have to think about when we look at the scores of this show is that if you only watched the first 2 episodes of this show, would you score it well? I don't think anyone would.
No,
I
if
don't
I
think-
I would have dropped it.
Ooh.
I would have dropped it too. Oh yeah, most of us would have dropped it.
2 out of 10.
It would be a 2 out of 10 with the first. So that's why I think it's important to think about how we did it, because we didn't know any of the side characters yet. Which again, like we've all said, the side characters were some of the better parts of the show. So I think that's one thing to think about with it, which is why I think the show is so low scoring on Mal. Other than the fact that it is bad, but I think also if you watch that first episode, I know I kind of did drop it for 2 weeks. I watched the first episode the day after we got assigned it. I made it through 15 minutes of it, and I said, "Fuck this!" And then I waited. I decided to wait for 2 weeks to watch it. Till the day of that we had to do this review for it. Again, like the guitarist jamming out with the pianist in the background, just constantly. It was good music, but it just so took me out of it so many times. We had some Sweet Home Alabama that throws me my score off. There was no tension at all in any of the fights. You knew who was going to win.
No,
There's
at all.
absolutely no tension. Because
There's
even
no fighting in the fights.
no, there was no fighting too. There's absolutely no tension at all. I never once was like, oh, Koyori might die, or oh, they might have this problem. Mainly because they broke the rules about handshaking too, or holding hands. I don't know. Again, they rewrote rules. They set up Mesopotamia historical stuff and then did nothing with it. The Tower of Babel, such a cool story. No matter whether you believe in God or not, it is such a cool thing to think that. It's a fantastical story. So, and I am so mad that they used it and didn't do anything with it, which is why I gave this show a 4 out of 10. Again, it is not the worst anime I have ever seen by any means, but it is not something I recommend. And it is, as Mal's score for 4 says, it is bad. There's no other way to put it. So that totals our score to a 28, and then let me divide that
4.66.
28 divided by 60. Yeah, it's a
4.66. There you go.
A 4.66 is our final score for Handshakers. Believe it or not, that is our lowest score in the 10 shows that we have reviewed for this series so far. Compared to the Mal, go ahead real quick. You don't have a lot of time, Kat, so speak.
So one of the other guys that was also watching the show is Brady. He was also going to try and join, but he was also going to try and join this episode, but he had some internet issues, so he couldn't. His score was 7 out of 10.
All right, well, I'm glad we didn't include it. So
Exactly. That's what I have to deal with every week. But
yeah, no. Well, we have to set a precedent, so we're setting the precedent that only people who show up scores count, especially if we have like 6 people like we did today. We only have like 3 people, then maybe we throw in other scores. It's nothing personal. That's all there is to it. But yeah, so Handshakers, a 4.66, lowest score by far, by a solid, I think, 2.5 points almost is our lowest score. I'm shocked. I can't believe it that our joke episode would be like this. Go ahead, Happy.
Honestly, I think that's fair. Even though I liked it, it's not a general audience show. It
yeah.
deserves that low
That-
score.
And comparing it to Mal.
If you're gonna,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna start with any anime, don't start with this one. Start with something better.
Start with
Sword
this
Art.
I'm watching.
Start with this. You can
with
only go
Naruto.
uphill.
Exactly.
Start with.
There's nowhere further down.
Yeah.
Oh, I lied. There are
Yeah.
further down. Let me not.
No joke. Start with Sword Art Online, for goodness sake. It's better
No.
than this.
No,
You
you
should
can start
start
with
with that,
SAO. You should. It's an easy starter one. But yeah, anyways, that's not this podcast. So just real quick, the Mal score for this was a 5.4 out of 10. I highly recommend you go to the Mal for this and see not only the 1 and 2 ratings, but then the very top recommended review is a solid 3-page essay giving the score a 10 out of 10. And I have to say, using the Neon Genesis Evangelion comparisons and everything else. Reading through it was a joy. I
was a
could
good
not
time.
tell if this was ironic or not. I don't think it was. That's the funniest thing about it. So please read it on your own time. It is too funny. But moving on now, that is our final Handshakers. Thank God we're fucking done with this. Now we get to move on to shows that we actually might want to watch or enjoy talking
Hey.
about. So, Miles, why don't you lead us off? What show are we watching 2 weeks from now?
So I have bad news, everyone. It only gets worse from here. So, traditionally, as we do this, something No Terror came in third, gets a legacy point. Imsoko ni Iruboku,
Now and then, here and there. is
that
the
one
show.
came in
Mhm.
second with 11 points. And first place, after a very long time, is
Asobi,
Nanbaka.
Yeah,
Asobase.
Nanbaka.
What? Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
no,
I was about to-
Asobase will never win as long as I
You
tally
guys
the
are
votes.
fools. That show's amazing.
I gave Nanbaka 3 points. So
You
I
I mean,
can-
not Nanbaka. Asobi. That show. The show
Asobi
that you had.
Asobase. There you go.
Yeah.
And we all know now. Yeah, so we will be watching Nanbaka. So that was, I think, the first show that Kat ever nominated.
I think so, too.
was.
11
Yeah.
weeks. Yay. Or 11 episodes.
Yeah, so that'll be our
Hey.
11th episode. Now we get to the fun part where anyone who attended gets to nominate a show for next week, or for us to
I was
vote
so
on.
sure. I
going
was so
into the
sure I
next
wasn't
one.
gonna win.
Yeah, well, now you got to think of one. So, Kat, we'll come to you last.
Do
but
Has
first,
and Cat last. See, it looks like they're caught off guard.
Yeah, I forgot this part of the show.
Oh, yeah,
It's
there we
been
go.
a minute.
I can go
Alright.
first because I have mine.
I was gonna say, yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Okay, well, I'm getting rid of Asobi Asobase. It's never going to happen. I understand that now. You guys are fools. The show is amazing. So I'm going to switch gears to a show that I believe is like critically acclaimed as the best dub of all time. And I don't know why I haven't seen it, so I thought this would be a prime
Cowboy
opportunity.
Bebop.
No, I am
Yeah, I
going
would
to
think Cowboy
recommend the
Bebop too, yeah.
2007 show Baccano.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, I've heard about that. See,
Why do you
I always
sure
heard
my
that.
show is short enough.
It's 13 episodes, I believe.
Mine, not yours.
Oh, okay.
All right, so there we go. So we got Baccano. That's one of the shows that you, including the listeners who aren't participating, can still vote on in the comments. We haven't gotten one of those yet. If you are still listening
We
somehow,
got one in
and
the
want to
Discord,
vote-
didn't we? Johnny
We-
voted in the Discord.
Yeah, no. I'm saying like other than the people that are in the Discord voting.
Oh,
Well,
speaking of which, we have a Discord. Links in the description below if you want to join our Discord.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like in the YouTube comments, people who are just listening, please give us your votes. We want to have your input count for something. If you
Or
have
if you are
this far.
listening on Spotify, iTunes, something like that, you can tweet at me. What do you say, Annie? You can
Mm-hmm.
email me. You can DM me. You can slide into my DMs if you want. And yeah, give
Smoke
me your
signals,
your
even.
votes.
Like,
What?
we'll find out carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
I will learn Braille.
I know
Yeah,
my
to
I know
read.
I know my MySpace account still. You can sign to my
Yeah.
MySpace DMs.
Send us some Morse code message over something. I don't know. Either
I'm
way,
still
all right.
on kick.
All right. Still on kick. Oh my god. All right. Happy. Why don't you go next since Haz and Kat are still working on figuring their shit out.
no,
What
I'm
show
on.
are you? I know it's been a while for you too, Happy. Are you ready?
It has been a hot minute. Okay.
All right. So why don't
So-
Haz can go next then if you need a second. Or do you have it? Do you have it ready?
I don't. I've got some ideas, but I don't know how good they'd be for.
Well, just pick one out of the top. Pick one while Haz announces his.
Yeah, I'm gonna run. I think at this point, every time I throw something up, it gets a legacy point, even things that probably shouldn't. I don't know how, but I have a great audience, I guess. No, so I'm gonna stop throwing up for the legacy points. I'm gonna start cashing in. I'm gonna run back. The world God only knows.
Okay.
Hopefully, this time it wins. Energy. I'm
Energy.
getting nothing but energy.
Okay, the world God only knows. I've heard about that show you. All right, Miles. Since you are probably ready, I think.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
you go
ready.
next?
So I'm going to break tradition a little bit, and I'm going to nominate a bad show, but one that I guess I think is intriguing. It's higher rated than Handshakers was. It's rocking a solid 6.9 on Mal.
Nice.
So I'm
Nice.
gonna nominate Happy Sugar Life.
Ooh, some yanderes, baby.
Happy Sugar Life. Okay, I've definitely heard that
I
before.
don't like this
know
show
what
because it
is.
has my name in it.
Yeah. All right.
This looks like a good time to me.
yeah,
It's like Murder Citrus.
Murder
Oh,
Citrus.
that's-
Murder
not a
Lolly
good time.
Citrus. Lolly Citrus.
Not a good
Oh,
time.
okay. I'm passing on that then. Anyways, Happy, why don't you go back?
Okay, I've got one.
Yeah,
So, who here has played the Persona series?
I know of it.
No, none
I
of
know
us.
Pete has. I know Pete has not because you don't like
Maybe
single player
has.
games.
I played 3.
Has- Oh,
but-
oh, cool! Because that's what I'm recommending. It's the Persona 3 movies.
Please don't. Oh no. This
How
is
much-
this is temp joke episode bad.
Persona 3, the movie.
No.
Okay, so how many movies? There's 4 of them, I think.
There are
What was
4
that?
of them. Yes.
And they are all what, like an hour or so long? Hour and a
Uh,
half?
I think-
Not even.
Probably hour and a half. I don't think they ever reached 2 hours, but I'd have to check on that.
Okay, so I think we could assign all 4 of them theoretically and make it possible.
Yeah.
It's about the length of a 12 episode series. So I guess that works. So there we go.
Yep.
All right, so the Persona 3 series of animations. Kat, why don't you go next?
Well,
You-
I'm the last one, right?
I still have mine, but mine's quick and easy. Do you
All
do you
right.
need more time?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna especially since it earned a legacy point. I'm gonna re-up now and then here and there. Again, isekai, or one of the first isekais back from the 1990s. You know, it's vintage, and I'm very curious to see it. And heard lots of people talk about it, or rave about it. So I'm very curious to see if we can watch it.
I'm still throw us out there as well. The Persona films is going to be over 7 hours, so we probably gonna have to do a different one.
Yeah. I guess we could do
7 hours
2
is
of
like
them.
22 episodes.
That is true. Yeah. So maybe
Really?
Yeah.
Really? It's only 4 movies. Even if
It's
we're
the
taking it-
time.
it's the time commitment. Yeah. So 4 movies is an hour. Let's say they're an hour and 30 each.
They're like an hour and 45 each.
Which that's 7 hours. Which if you can picture that, that's 3 anime episodes. Anime episodes usually like 22 to 24 minutes, right? So 7 times 3, that's 21 episodes right there. So I guess that's
Really?
yeah.
Yep.
I know it's
Hold
quick
on,
quick
well,
maths.
quick maths,
two-
baby.
well,
Yeah.
I didn't go to
2 hours
college.
would be 2 hours would be like 4 episodes, though, right?
No.
2 hours would be like yeah. So then if a movie's 2 hours or just under 2 hours,
4
and there's 4
episodes
of
would be
them.
like 1.25 hours.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Actually, yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that means I got to come with something else.
If
Yeah.
you can come up with something quick, yeah, that'd be great.
This is why you
Um,
plan ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't.
I
planning
wasn't
on
expecting
being there.
this. I wasn't
Hasn't
expecting
been
to win this week.
Get off happy. He
I
hasn't
told
been-
you won before this, Cat.
I didn't believe you.
Could we do the Sonic OVA then?
The
It's like
Sonic
50 minutes. You can find it. on
Oh
YouTube,
my
why not?
god!
Oh man!
Exactly
Again,
what
you
the-
were aware we're not nominating, right? Yeah. Just to be clear, this is supposed to be a. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Okay.
think
There we
this is
go.
a
The
full-
Sonic
the Hedgehog OVA is 2 episodes. We could technically do that.
Yes, we can. So there we go. That's
Well,
what we're
it's
gonna do.
It's 2 episodes smushed into a single movie, so it's like 50
There we go.
minutes.
It's an
So it's a
hour
movie.
long
really,
total.
really short.
Mm-hmm. All right. There
we
we
can
go.
do
Going
that.
on.
We can definitely
Okay.
nominate that.
I'm
All
ready.
right, Kat. If you're ready, then there we go. What's our final show that's on the nomination list?
Okay,
Miles
so
is having to work hard today.
here's the thing. So I've got 2 shows, but I want to ask you guys: how many of you guys have seen Hinamatsuri?
I love that show. It's so good.
I've never heard of it.
Yes, I know.
Heard of it, never seen it.
It's so good.
Same.
You've seen it.
Of course I've seen it.
Well, I know you. I'm talking about Pat.
No, I've heard of it. Same thing as Happy. I've heard of it, never seen it.
Yeah, let's go with Hinamatsuri.
Great
All
pick.
right.
Great pick.
It's like that high class
what
shit
about-
that I'm like, I don't want to touch.
Yakuza
It's-
Aliens. It's great.
Sumi Galaxy. That's
It's
so
fucking hilarious.
I'm sorry, Yakuza Aliens? Never mind, I'm in.
Yeah. Anzu, best girl.
Exactly.
It's already been decided. Anzu is best girl.
Hey, quick question. Does anybody
Uh,
hear a weird thumping noise?
Nope, we're good.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Like,
okay, cool. Because if you do, that's me walking.
Okay.
Okay.
No, well,
Oh.
thank goodness that we don't. I guess I don't know what to say to that. I guess that's all we've got, right? So Miles will send that, post the links and everything to those shows. We'll vote by next week, and then we'll after we review Nanbaka, we will have our answer as to what we are watching the following week. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for listening. And I guess I'm just gonna hand it over to Pete.
Yeah, if you like our stuff, wherever platform you're listening on, like, comment, subscribe. You know that bullshit. It's the best way for us to, continue growing the channel and, spreading the influence, help us beat the YouTube algorithm. We
Yes.
are also on Twitter at What Do You Say Annie. That's what you say ANI on Twitter. Stay up to date information on the podcast and see me tweet a bunch of random bullshit. And we have a Discord. It's more just like a hangout spot. It's really cool. You should come hang out with us. Links in the description below. But other than that, we'll see you in like 5 days for the finals of Anime Duel of the Decade. So that's gonna be super fun.
I'm also audibling my pick.
You're
Wait,
what?
oh,
I'm audibling my pick. Very last minute. I'm doing Tatami Galaxy.
Oh yes, let's go!
Oh my.
Yeah, your favorite director. I see why. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Same guy who did Devilman Crybaby, Aizoken, Ride Your Wave. That guy, really good. Okay, but yeah, Tatami Galaxy from Miles. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.